I wrote an article some years ago. I looked at every major department of government. Not a single one of them could pass an audit. If the books of these agencies were kept like that in the private sector, people would go to jail. Clearly what you said makes a lot of sense. Every single dime being spent, we ought to know where it is, where it's going. When Democrats are in charge, do you think Democrats are making demands like that? And now that Republicans are in charge, and you've got somebody like Elon Musk going over all of this, they're screaming like scalded chickens. You see, Democrats don't care about how big government is, how much money it spends. And Republicans, until Donald Trump, as I said before, wanted to take a pocket knife to a problem that requires a machete. Donald Trump has produced a machete. Now, every Republican president I know of has talked about waste, fraud, and abuse. Ronald Reagan talked about it. George Herbert Walker Bush talked about it. George W. Bush talked about it. And there is a book written by Ronald Reagan's head of Office Management and Budget. His name is David Stockman, called The Triumph of Politics: Why the Reagan Revolution Failed. And he talked about how all these programs, bureaucracies, agencies that were on the chopping block, one after another was spared when the special interest person comes in and made a sob story about how horrible things would be if that program went away. And so each one that was on the chopping block got spared and spared and spared. So when Ronald Reagan left office, the government was bigger than when he came in. In fact, the last president to enter the Oval Office and leave it with a smaller government and lower taxes was Calvin Coolidge, a Republican who governed from 1923 to 1929. Outside of that, every other president enters the Oval Office and leaves the Oval Office with a bigger government than before, which is why I said in 1900 at all three levels, federal, state, and local, government took less than 10% from the American people. Today at all three levels, it takes almost 35%. And it's even higher than that when you add a cost to a mandate where you're demanded to do something by government, by some sort of agency, whether it's EPA or others, to do something, buy something that you don't think you need, or to buy something that you think is more expensive than what you think you need. Then if you add that, government takes almost half of what we produce. Which is why when we have a 3% GDP, government high fives. Believe it or not, there was a time when government grew at 5, 6, 7% per year. Twice as fast. Why? Because more money was in the pockets of the American people. And the more money in the pockets of the American people, the more efficiently the money can be spent on investments, on purchases, on saving, and on charity. The more prosperous we are, the more generous we are. Under Ronald Reagan, when the economy took off, all sorts of studies showing people gave more. When you have less money, you give less. So a prosperous economy also means a more generous economy. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.